You do realize we've been parked on this rock a week longer than we planned?
Yeah.
I can't go on. It goes so fast we don't have time to look at one another.
You know what's worse than a bad TV show? A great one that ends before it ever really begins. Some of the best series built loyal fan bases, only to be cut down in their prime. No finale, no answers, just cold cancellation. If you're into the lost gems, the cult classics, and the what could have been legends of TV, hit that like button and subscribe. And let's get into 7 canceled TV shows that deserved way more seasons. Number 7, Firefly. Firefly showed up on Fox in September 2002 with 14 episodes ready to go, but only 11 ever aired before it was canceled that December. In 3 short months, it was over. The magic of the show was the crew of Serenity. Mal Reynolds was a captain scarred by war, trying to keep his ship and people together. Zoe had his back with calm strength. Wash kept things light with jokes from the pilot's chair, and Inara carried elegance and tension in every scene with Mal. Kaylee brought optimism and heart as the mechanic, and River added mystery and danger with her fractured brilliance. They weren't polished heroes, they were broken people making it work together, and that's what made them compelling. The cancellation came down to Fox's missteps. Episodes were aired out of order, the show was dumped on Friday nights, and it barely got promoted despite high production costs. We never had the chance to catch on, but after cancellation, something remarkable happened. When the DVD set came out, fans discovered the series in droves. Word spread quickly, and Firefly became the definition of a cult classic. The demand for more stories was so strong that in 2005, the cast reunited for the film Serenity, which gave fans some closure, but also showed just how much story was left to tell. What keeps Firefly alive even now is how personal it felt. It wasn't about shiny spaceships or big battles, it was about people. Number 6, My So-Called Life. Some shows burn fast and bright, and My So-Called Life was exactly that. It hit ABC in August 1994, gave us 19 episodes of teenage honesty, and by January 1995, it was gone. But in that short window, it managed to bottle up what high school really felt like: messy, emotional, confusing, and unforgettable. At the heart of it was Angela Chase, played by Claire Danes. She wasn't the flawless TV teenager we were used to. She dyed her hair red on a whim, mumbled through conversations, and overthought every interaction. Her inner monologues turned into voiceovers, so we got to hear the stream of insecurities and daydreams running in her head. Watching Angela meant seeing your own teenage self up there, flaws and all. And then there was Jordan Catalano. Jared Leto's character barely spoke in full sentences, but the way he leaned against lockers was enough to launch 1,000 crushes. Their will-they-won't-they dynamic never reached a payoff, which somehow made it even more real. Add Ricky, Angela's best friend, who was breaking barriers on network TV as one of the first openly gay teenage characters, and you had a cast that felt ahead of its time. The show was fearless about what it tackled. Instead of wrapping big issues in a neat bow, it let them sit and sting. Homophobia, drinking, family fights, friendship breakups, these weren't one-episode gimmicks. They were part of everyday life. Even Angela's home life wasn't sitcom perfect. Her parents fought, her little sister felt overshadowed, and no one seemed to have the answers. That's what made it relatable. So why did a show this good disappear so quickly? Ratings. The network slotted it against heavy hitters, barely promoted it, and it slipped through the cracks. Add in the fact that Claire Danes was actually 15, which limited how much she could film, and the network decided it wasn't worth the hassle. But here's the twist. Cancellation turned it into a cult classic. Claire Danes and Jared Leto went on to massive careers, but for many fans, they'll always be Angela and Jordan. Reruns, streaming, and nostalgia have kept it alive, and it's constantly named one of the best shows ever canceled too soon. The storylines we never got, the next steps in Angela's love life, the fallout of broken friendships, the messy journey through high school still leave people wondering. It was 1 season, 19 episodes, and no closure. But My So-Called Life proved you don't need years to make an impact. Sometimes a single season is enough to etch itself permanently into memory. Number 5, Freaks and Geeks. High school in Freaks and Geeks wasn't polished or pretty. It was sweaty gym uniforms, botched love confessions, and cafeteria tables where you never quite fit. Set in a Detroit suburb during 1980 to 81, the show only lasted 1 season. But in those 18 episodes, it nailed the feeling of being young and lost better than most series ever have. Lindsay Weir, played by Linda Cardellini, started out as a straight-A mathlete before suddenly drifting toward the school's misfits. That meant cutting class with James Franco's Too Cool Daniel, weathering Busy Phillips' Kim Kelly's insults, and watching Jason Segel's Nick go on marathon drum solos that were more nightmare than romance. Meanwhile, Lindsay's little brother Sam and his geeky friends, Martin Starr's Deadpan Bill and John Francis Daly's Wide-Eyed Sam, were just trying to survive dodgeball, bullies, and the eternal embarrassment of being freshmen. The show's genius was how it found both comedy and heartbreak in the smallest details. Bill making grilled cheese while watching Dallas alone felt like the loneliest afternoon ever. Sam nervously slow dancing at a school party was both painful and sweet. And Nick trying to win Lindsay over by blasting his drums until she practically begged him to stop, that's the kind of awkward teenage grand gesture everyone remembers cringing through. NBC, though, didn't have a clue what to do with it. They shuffled time slots, marketed it badly, and expected a glossy teen soap when what they got was brutally honest storytelling. By spring of 2000, the ratings were too low, and the network pulled the plug before graduation, prom, or any real closure. But cancellation only grew its legend. Fans traded DVDs, critics called it one of the greatest shows of all time, and the cast exploded into stardom. Franco, Rogen, Siegel, and Phillips all went on to major careers, while Judd Apatow and Paul Feig became Hollywood powerhouses. The series ended with Lindsay choosing the Grateful Dead over the safe path everyone expected, a perfect unfinished note that fit the show's spirit. Freaks and Geeks proved high school stories didn't need to be shiny, they just needed to be true. That's why, decades later, it's still the gold standard for how teenage life actually feels. Number 4. Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. Who remembers when Fox dropped The Sarah Connor Chronicles right after Terminator 2 had left us hungry for more? This show gave us a deeper look at the Connors, Sarah, played by Lena Headey, and her son John, played by Thomas Dekker, trying to outrun Skynet and survive a future that wouldn't stop coming for them. And of course, there was Cameron, the Terminator brought to life by Summer Glau, who could be warm one moment and ice cold the next. She kept everyone guessing, was she truly protecting John or just biding her time? The best part wasn't just the explosions or the time travel chaos, it was how human it felt. Sarah wasn't just a warrior, she was a mother losing sleep, second-guessing herself, and still pushing forward. John wasn't a perfect hero in waiting, he was a kid trying to live, falling for the wrong people and buckling under the pressure of a future war. And Cameron? She gave us moments that made you stop and wonder if machines could actually feel. Fox ended it after 2 seasons and 31 episodes. Ratings slid, the budget was huge, and the network bounced it around the schedule until fans couldn't keep up. We still talk about it because it felt like the closest TV ever came to capturing the weight of the Terminator movies. Number 3. Quantum Leap. Who remembers waiting each week to see where Sam Beckett would wake up next? One moment he was a civil rights activist, the next a baseball player, the next a single mom juggling kids. That was the hook. Scott Bakula as Sam, leaping into strangers' lives to fix what once went wrong. And right there with him was Al, Dean Stockwell's cigar-chomping hologram in loud jackets, cracking jokes while dropping just enough wisdom to keep Sam moving. The show ran 5 seasons and nearly 100 episodes, each one tackling something different. Racism, family struggles, war, addiction, stuff you didn't expect from a sci-fi series. It wasn't about flashy effects, it was about empathy. Fans kept coming back because Sam never hesitated to risk everything for people he barely knew. And then, NBC cut it off. No warning, no closure. The finale teased answers with Sam leaping into a bar in 1953, a mysterious bartender hinting he had been guiding himself all along. Just as it looked ready to tie things up, the screen went black with one line. Dr. Sam Beckett never returned home. That was the final goodbye. NBC blamed slipping ratings and high production costs. Viewers blamed the network for killing one of the most heartfelt shows of its time. To this day, that final line still stings. Who else felt punched in the gut when Sam never made it back? Number 2. Alf. Who remembers when a smart-mouthed alien crashed into the Tanner family's garage and instantly took over primetime? Alf wasn't just another sitcom, it was a cultural takeover. From 1986 to 1990, 4 seasons and over 100 episodes gave us this furball from Melmac who cracked jokes, raided the fridge, and kept the family scrambling to hide him from the government. He insulted Willie, annoyed Kate, and turned every dinner table into chaos, and somehow you couldn't stop watching. The genius of the show was how it balanced the silly with the surprisingly sad. Between gags about eating cats and wrecking the house, Alf would drop reminders that his planet was gone and he was the last of his kind. That mix of sarcasm and loneliness made him more than just a puppet. It made him weirdly relatable. But NBC didn't exactly stick the landing. The last episode, Consider Me Gone, had Alf finally about to be rescued by other Melmac survivors. Just as freedom was within reach, the alien task force closed in. Fade to black. To be continued. Only, it never continued. That cliffhanger became one of TV's cruelest endings, leaving fans to imagine whether Alf spent the rest of his days dissected in a bunker. NBC pulled the plug because ratings slid, and the production was a nightmare. Long shoots, complex sets, and a cast that often had to work around trapdoors just to interact with the puppet. Still, ending it like that felt like betrayal. A TV movie years later tried to fix things, but without the Tanner family, it wasn't the same magic. Even so, Alf never really went away. He lived on in reruns, toys, cartoons, and endless pop culture shoutouts. The show deserved a proper goodbye, but instead, it left us hanging. And finally, at number 1, Deadwood. Who remembers the first time they heard Al Swearingen let loose one of his filthy Shakespearean rants? Deadwood wasn't just a Western, it was a world you could practically smell. From 2004 to 2006, HBO gave us 3 seasons and 36 episodes of grit, greed, and survival in a South Dakota mining camp that was slowly turning into a town. Timothy Oliphant played Seth Bullock, the stubborn sheriff trying to bring order, while Ian McShane turned Al into one of TV's most magnetic villains, scheming, violent, but somehow impossible to hate. The show was all about the clash between civilization and chaos. One minute you'd hear an eloquent monologue about justice, the next you'd watch a deal sealed with blood in a back alley. Characters like Calamity Jane, Trixie, and Sol Star weren't just side players, they felt alive, full of contradictions and flaws. Every episode pulled you deeper into the mud and whiskey of Deadwood, showing how power and survival shape people. But here's the sting. HBO canceled it after season 3, not because of ratings or lack of acclaim, but because of money. The sets were massive, the cast was huge, and costs were high. HBO and Paramount couldn't agree on a deal, and just like that, the story stopped. The finale left threads hanging, politics unresolved, personal arcs unfinished, the town itself mid-transformation. Fans were furious. A show this good deserved a real ending, not a fade-out caused by budget fights. For years, rumors of a movie floated around, and finally, in 2019, HBO brought the cast back for Deadwood the movie. It gave us a glimpse of closure, but let's be honest, 2 hours could never replace the seasons we lost. Still, it was a reminder of what made the show great. The language, the performances, the raw power of a story about building something out of nothing. Deadwood's legacy hasn't faded. It raised the bar for what historical dramas could be, gave us unforgettable performances, and proved that television could mix poetry with brutality. Fans still talk about it, still quote Al's insults, and still wonder what more seasons could have given us. Few shows dug this deep into the dirt of history, and fewer went out leaving so much unfinished business. Which of these cancellations hit you the hardest? Drop a comment and let us know which show you're still not over, whether it was the unfinished love story of My So-Called Life, the raw honesty of Freaks and Geeks, or the space western magic of Firefly. And hey, I know some of you are going to go to bat for the likes of Jericho or Pushing Daisies until the very end, so tell me if you think they got robbed, or if the networks made the right call. Don't forget to hit that like button if this countdown stirred up some TV heartbreak, and subscribe for more nostalgic deep dives into the shows that shaped us, the timeless hits, and the unforgettable losses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.